Welcome, everyone, to A Mexican and a Redneck Follow the World. We are your hosts and surrogate fathers, Juan and Ben. Today, we'll be discussing living without regrets.
I don't have regrets, Juan.
That sounds like a really good life.
It does. It is. I am a super optimist. Just to get it out of the way, if you want to know how to live without regrets, this is going to be a positive approach to bad choices. Just going to give it all to you right up front. So we all make decisions, but it's really important once you make that decision, especially if it's a bad one, to evaluate what went wrong and how we can forgive the people who are wrong, learn from it, and grow from that situation. That's how you live life without regrets.
Sounds like work, Ben.
It is. It is. We're done. 40 seconds. Let's go have some donuts.
Are you sure you're not going to regret those donuts?
I won't, because I'll learn from it and I'll eat better next time. No. And it's not to say you have a life without responsibility. Oh, see, there's the other side of it. Because some people are like, I don't have regret. It's like,
always comes down to that personal responsibility, huh?
personal. That might be one of the main things this is about, is personal responsibility and discipline and making better choices.
Okay.
But and people say, well, you've never done anything wrong. Because I'll say I don't really have regrets. And I might be misunderstanding the true meaning of the word regret. I don't know. But I don't walk around with this somber attitude where I carry all my bad decisions with me.
So you're not constantly punishing yourself for your bad choices?
No, because I look at life as I was born and my parents did the best they could with what they had.
Mm-hmm.
The same way their parents did the best they could with what they had. And so it's just this compounding effect. And it's wherever you are in life, you're born, you're raised, and you become an adult. And you look back, you're like, I could have not cheated on that test in 6th grade or something. But it was like, well, I just, for whatever reason, made that bad choice.
Yeah, because it almost sounds like, in a way, you can say it to where, like, you can live a life without regrets, meaning you just do whatever the crap you want to do and don't worry about it. Who cares? No regrets, right?
Right.
Or it's the life of, like, hey, I made some mistakes in the past. I've learned from it. I'm moving on. I'm not going to do that again. But at the same time, I'm not going to carry that.
Sure.
And then both lives are lives without regrets.
Exactly.
So there can be a life of no regrets on the positive side, where you actually...
This is the positive.
And then there's a life with no regrets on the negative side, where, like, you just don't care about anybody.
Right, and mine's definitely the positive. I care about people. I do wish I had made a different decision, but I don't carry that with me because, I've asked the people that I can remember that I've harmed to forgive me.
Okay.
Like, I've actually called people that I hadn't talked to in, 5 years or something. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I should have acted differently. Because forgiveness is really important.
Yeah.
Part of this whole approach. And the people I could, I'm just like, well, I hope they can forgive me. I'm forgiving myself. Not to say I wasn't wrong, but at some point, I'm not going to carry that with me. I want to move forward in life. And I'm not going to let that one bad circumstance dictate my entire life. And I know some people have made some pretty bad decisions. People have died or been hurt for the rest of their lives. And I thankfully don't think I've done that to my knowledge. I've never killed anybody. I've never done some horrible, like, physical assault on someone or whatever. But at the same time, I know I've emotionally hurt some people.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've tried to ask forgiveness when I could in those situations. And I've given forgiveness. That's the other thing about it. Just as much as you need to get forgiveness, you need to give.
Mm-hmm.
And so going, hey, I forgive, some people, grudges against their parents or former friends or whoever, you got to forgive those people, say it out loud and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you move forward. Because then you can start really saying, well, maybe in that argument with my friend, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And this was my stake in the problems that happened. Like, this is what I did and I could have done it better. Yeah.
So I guess one of the things too that really stands out to what you're saying is forgiveness, and then really being able to forgive yourself. Because if you're not able to forgive yourself, that's when you start carrying those regrets.
Yeah.
As far as like, man, I should have, it's like we're all going to make mistakes. The question, I guess, is, are we going to learn from our mistakes? And I think, but forgiveness has to be a part of that process of like, okay, I made the mistake. I want to forgive myself. I'm going to ask for forgiveness for whoever I harmed, and I'm going to move on. And then that's basically what you're saying as far as like living a life without regrets.
Oh yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah. You're right. Or you could do something my dad did. I still don't even understand the psychology behind this. But I was 17 and my dad was a truck driver. And when he would come home, I might not see him for 3 months, 6 months, something like that at a time. So if he got within 50 miles of where we live, I would hop in my car and go visit him. Well, he happened to be at home. He's like, hey, I'm going to be home. You want to come see me? I'm only home for one night. I'm like, yeah. So my friends wanted to hang out. And I'm like, well, just come to my dad's and we'll spend the night. So we went back to his trailer and spent the night that Friday night. So we're all asleep. I don't know what he was doing, but I just know he had parked his 18-wheeler out in front of our trailer, and it was pointed directly at the trailer. And so, because that's where the driveway bumped right into the trailer.
Oh, okay.
So he was really close to the trailer for whatever reason. And we're asleep on a Saturday morning, me and my two friends. And I wake up and the whole trailer is crooked, and we're all asleep in the living room. So all of our like living room shelving and stuff and like bookcases and everything is just tilted off to one side. And it's just all crooked. We're like, what's happening? And we think we're in an earthquake or something. And then it all just slams back. And it, like everything's just like rocking and shaking and in the floor. And we're like, what's going on? And the whole trailer's just tipped on its side a little bit. Not tipped on its side like over, but at an angle.
Yeah.
And then popped back on its foundations. And I walk out of the front porch and there's an 18-wheeler. Like the grill of it is right into the front porch. And I'm like, what happened? And my dad's just laughing uncontrollably when he sees us. And we're like, what happened? He's like, you should see the look on your face. You guys look so scared right now. I'm like, I know I should be mad, but he's laughing really hard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, he's like, oh, I accidentally hit the trailer with the truck. It's no big deal. You're fine. Am I fine? He's like, yeah, you're fine. It's all right. This is great. And he was just laughing. He's like, I wish I had a picture of how scared all of you looked. Like that was his whole focus. He had no regrets in that moment because it turned out okay, I guess.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're scarred, Ben.
We were confused. I don't know. I'm laughing about it now. Can't be that bad.
I don't know. You just may be subconsciously hiding something. Probably not. Who knows?
No, I accept if you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. And my dad wanted me tough.
No, that's good. That's good. That's funny though. That's yeah. I wonder if, like, I'm picturing, like, I'm trying to think about that moment, and I was like, was your dad just like being a big kid? Like, did the thought cross his mind of like, I wonder if I can scare the kids?
No, he accidentally had the truck in gear, and he turned the key on for whatever reason, and it leapt forward and bounced and hit the trailer.
Well, that's funny.
He wasn't making a joke. It was an accident.
Well, I just keep on thinking, like, the times that I've done things, oh, this is going to be really funny. But then you're like, oh, I really regret that.
Yeah, but even in that moment as a dad, and you make that mistake and have that regret, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You get the opportunity to be compassionate and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah.
You get the opportunity to say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, and your kids see that humanity in you.
Yeah, because I'm sure I've done it, and I'm sure many people out there have done it, to where you do something like, oh, this is going to be so funny, and then, like, you end up hurting your kid accidentally, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
Yeah. It's
it happens.
It's not that funny.
You think this is going to be great.
Yeah.
They're going to love it. And then they're like standing there holding their arm or their head crying. And you're like, I'm a jerk. I just thought this was going to be fun.
Yeah. I remember how much I liked it when I was a kid. I was like, oh, wait, no, I didn't like it.
Of course I'm going to tickle them until they're screaming stop.
Yeah. You think it's going to be funny, but then they get hurt. And I was like, oh, man, dude, life is hard.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. Anyways, yeah. life is hard, and you should definitely not have regrets about life, because you should always be learning from your experiences and moving forward, and living a better life, because that's a life without regrets.
That's it. Man, this is a good episode. 10 minutes in, we're done.
We're done.
We could talk about Christmas for another 5
Hey,
minutes.
I was just thinking that.
It's coming up.
It is. Hey,
almost October.
It's September, so all the stores obviously already have their Christmas stuff out.
There's a cute little song that
They have no regrets about that. Let me tell you.
No regrets. No, I think regrets can also be, you have the best intentions at heart. You really do when you do stuff, and sometimes you're like, oh, I really regret that.
Yeah.
And and it just goes back to, you're on a journey in life, and you've just got to forgive yourself. Because I can't not keep going back to that, because that's kind of the whole approach to this is even the person who lives without regrets, and I don't care what happens to anyone, and the bad approach to no regrets, it's sad because that person will at some point be laying in bed at night by themselves, and they will have regrets.
Yeah.
They'll get it. It might be a fleeting thing, and they might have to go out and cause more chaos just to avoid the regrets. But, it's important to talk to people. Talk to people you trust. Maybe you can't go to that person and say, hey, I hope you forgive me.
Yeah.
But maybe you can say, hey, I need to talk to my friend Juan. Maybe he can help me at least start organizing my ideas, the series of events. Maybe he can say, when you do this, that's kind of a jerk move, and you need to ask for forgiveness, and start talking to people, because community and talking to people like this helps you go out to the rest of the world and make it a better place.
Yeah.
And get to where you can live without regrets.
I guess from the positive side, as far as what I keep on thinking about, Ben, is like, as a man, you don't have the luxury of living a life with regrets. Because if you're constantly living with regrets, you're not really that productive, So there's this fine line. You have to live a life without regrets on the positive side, meaning you've made your decision. You've decided this is the type of person I'm going to be. This is the type of father I'm going to be. And if you make a mistake, you just take that as an opportunity to learn from your mistake and not carry something as a regret. Like, oh man, I hated that I did. It's like, if you're carrying it but not learning from it, that's not a good life.
Oh yeah.
So I guess that's what I hear you saying.
Yeah.
As far as like, if you've made a decision, live with that decision. If you make a mistake in that decision process, learn from it, move on from it, apologize if there needs to be apologized, forgive yourself if you need to forgive yourself, and then just become a better person.
Absolutely.
So I think from the positive side, a life without regrets is the striving to become a better individual every day.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It is a self-examined life, as my father-in-law would say. Every day you look and you say, is this morning's person better than last night's person? Did I get a good night's rest? Am I going to do that project I've been putting off, or finally finish that task or goal, or finally talk to that person? And that's the thing I've learned, and I know there's a lot of really good psychological terms, but this is a Mexican and a redneck father of the world, not two brilliant scientists father the world or psychologists. So
I'm a doctor.
You're a doctor? You're Dr. Juan?
Yeah, Dr. Juan. Dude, I don't know what the big deal is. All I had to do was put the DR in front of my name and
Dr.
Juan. People are like, it's hard. I'm like, what's hard about it? I just put DR and I just became a doctor.
It says it on everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I found the D on the keyboard, the R in the period.
It's right there.
I'm Dr. Juan. Yeah, I don't know. You can be a doctor of anything.
Then a lot of government forms give you that option. I'm like, I'll take it.
Yeah. Why not? I think very highly of myself. Of course I'm a doctor level. But I look at it as Dr. Juan.
What's good that he got there? I did it.
I avoided that process because it was
doctor.
expensive and hard. I'm already a doctor in my mind. I'm great. But But that's, living that life without regrets, it's like I accept that I'll make mistakes. There's a level of humility to it as well.
Yeah.
You have to say, as great as I want to think I am, I'm not perfect. Like, I'm going to be greater tomorrow, and I'm optimistic. Like, tomorrow I'm going to be a little more wealthy, a little more intelligent, a little more stronger, have a few less problems because I figured a few of them out today.
Yeah.
And that's how I live. Is like, if I figure out one problem or have one success, even if it's just calling someone I haven't talked to in a while, that's still a success, and I try not to look at my life as, well, I wasn't a millionaire by 30. I didn't have my bachelor's degree by 30 or whatever, and because I look back and I had a regret for a long time of, if I would have just gotten that bachelor's degree at 23 like everyone else, maybe my life, but I look back and I'm like, I'm wonderful. I like who I am. It's been a hard road. Yeah, it was unconventional. Yeah, I definitely made mistakes. But I wasn't at the place to where I could get that bachelor's degree at 23. In my mind, it just wasn't there. And it's all an obstacle course of the mind. You just got to get through it, and you can't compare yourself to others. I think that's where regrets come up too, is people say, well, you don't know what I've done. You've heard that said before.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, well, you don't know what I've done. We're both human. But you try to come this island unto yourself and not communicate with others, not realize, well, he got problems too, just like me. Maybe we're not so different, Maybe we can learn from each other. Maybe we can build each other up. Imagine that, And so forgiveness and community, I think, are at the forefront of living without regrets.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Go talk to some old people. They got regrets.
Yeah.
They've done it. They've been there, and they can tell you how to not do it and help
Yeah.
you out of your place.
Well, and then too, if you talk to an old person and they're full of regrets, go talk to somebody else who's not full of regrets.
They're just sitting there just like, I should have done everything different.
Yeah. Because there is that.
They're
and
waiting to die.
Yeah, they're waiting to die.
Yeah. Don't find that old person.
Yeah. And it's like, you want to find that old person who's still alive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
they got goals.
Yeah.
Like, I still got stuff to do. What are you talking about? I'm only 85.
Yeah. Yes. I've met that man.
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
I have met that man also. That
And
type of man, I should say.
And it's like, that's who I want to be. I want to be that 90-year-old dude, still driving, still working, still full of fire, and be like, I still got things to do.
I knew a 72-year-old guy. He was my neighbor. And he, being my neighbor, he's going to see my daily coming and goings. And him and I would always have coffee together and hang out and stuff. And he saw my mom one day. And my mom's was in her late 50s at the time. And this guy was in his early 70s. And he's like, tell you what. After my mom had left, he's like, if I was a bachelor, I'd be chasing your mom all over this neighborhood. I was like, I can't even process that, sir. He's like, I'm just saying, she's a wonderful woman. And if I was a bachelor, yeah, you might have a new stepdaddy.
Old man speak for she's hot.
I'm like, okay, you've been pretty cool stepdad. I'd be all right with it. We just have more coffee together, I guess. And we wouldn't discuss other stuff. But anyways, we want to thank you for listening to A Mexican and a Redneck Father of the World. We love you and we're proud of you.